Good evening, my Roslins and Rosikins. Mother is back. And in this video, we're going to be talking about falling in lust or falling in love. So I know I mentioned this in one of my other videos regarding men and women and I guess relationships in general and the way that we're viewed and the way that we, I guess you could say, live in the same world but have different experiences because of our different roles in society and I guess the overarching theme of how the masculine loves and how the feminine loves. And I want to talk about the fact that a lot of people are swearing up and down, swearing to the Lord God Almighty Himself, getting married even with a partner that they have fallen in lust with, but have not fallen in love with. And, everybody's talking about love, 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 but no one's really dissecting and thinking about what is true love? What does that entail? You know, and what is lust? So for me, when I think of love and falling in love and loving a partner, I think of something that can last for decades or as long as your hearts are beating. I think of something that is steady, something that is sure, something that is aligned and destined. When I think of falling in lust, I think of something that is quick, something that is not certain, but yearning or wanting that thing or desiring heavily that person. Um, Something that two people with a certain ego, perception, mindset, or social belief come together to create a relationship in that sense or marriage. And I think of also circumstance, like you weren't drawn to them internally, you were drawn to them externally. So I'm going to go down a list of different things that um, point towards more of falling in love. And then I'm going to go down a list of things that actually I'm going to start with lust. I'm going to go down a list of things pointing towards falling in lust. Then we're going to talk about love. So when you are falling in lust, there is no logic present, right? There is no, okay, I see her, she's a baddie, I see him, he's handsome. Um, but he was with my friend before, or she was with my cousin before, like some Jerry Springer drama shit, right? You're not logically thinking of the circumstance in which you find each other. You're just thinking about, oh, I like them. They're cool, or they're pretty, or they're hot, or they're handsome, whatever. There's no logic. Another example could be where, as you guys know, I think something more Sharon Moore, I think that is the football coach's name, that cheated on his wife with that he has three daughters with a mistress, and how that is example of having no logic. He had a great career, making 6 million a year, threw it all away to bang his coworker, even though he has a beautiful wife and little girls at home, and is a well respected man that some may deem even high value. Like he was not thinking, he had it made in the shade and doing something that he loves and passionate about, like football, coaching. And so that's another example. Like, no, whatever circumstance you're in, it goes out the door because you're thinking with your sexual organs and your physical attractiveness, not the inner being also with that person, right? There's no discipline. When you're falling in lust, the things that you have, the values and everything that you have built within yourself, the mindset, all that goes out the door, right? All you're caring about is how can we make something shake with this person, right? That's not that's not good. Right? You start falling off of your workout routine. You start falling off of the things that were making you better as a person because you're fallen in lust. It's not love, although you may call it that. You have no awareness of imperfection, meaning this that you are not able to see through the rose colored glasses. You see them, that person, right? And you think, oh my God, they're just perfect. They're so this, they're so that. But you're not taking into account the red flags, potential unfaithfulness that can be there, the abuse, the toxicity, the lack of motivation to um, go to the top. That person might not have ambition. That person might have gone around. That person might have a history of not being faithful. That person might have a history of bad finances. That person might, you know, come from a certain traumatic household, and not to hold it against them, but you have to take that into consideration because this is a person, not just an idea in your head, right? But with lust, you treat people like ideas and not as people. Quick and intense. Okay, when you're falling in lust, it's quick and intense. It's like, okay, we met here. I like them. They like me. We're moving fast. There's a lot of love bombing. It's a lot of manipulation there. It's a lot of, you know, let's think of today, not tomorrow. It's a lot of puppy love, a lot of teenage immaturity with that type of love, right? And it's intense. It's you guys are connected at the hip. Nothing can separate you in an unhealthy way. You know, there's nothing wrong with being with your partner very often, but it's the way of like teenage love drama. It's giving, you know, Romeo and Juliet type shit, like drama, 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 drama. Social knowing or fantasy. So when you're falling in lust, there is like a fantasy around it. You idolize this person for who you think they are and not who they really are. And they're doing the same to you. And then that is how you guys end up getting married or getting in a relationship, become boyfriend and girlfriend. And they end up divorcing or breaking up, and it turns toxic before even the breakup or divorce, because you both have idolized a false narrative of each other. Not saying that the version you idolize is not there as well, but it is not the only part of them that is there. And you have to understand more than just the idolization of a person. You have to understand the reality of them at their best, at their worst, their flaws, their perfections. Because just like there's imperfections in a person, there is perfections in a person, I believe. Okay. Also, there's an unhealthy possessiveness and jealousy present, whether it is you being jealous of your partner or jealous for them or possessive of them, right? It's unhealthy. It's giving Wattpad. It's giving character AI. Just a lot of toxicity there, you know? Like, it's not normal jealousy, because I believe that you should be possessive and jealous over the person you love, in the sense of, no, you don't want everybody being with them, or you know, them giving all their attention to others like that, to the extent they're neglecting you or that you're not seen as the favorite person in their life. I get that. I'm that type. I don't play about that. However, when it is overwhelming and it stops you from being great, and it becomes an emotional attachment that is traumatic in a sense, like trauma bonding type, and you know, a toxicity love affair, when it's giving like Tiffany and Chucky, you know, type of energy or something like that, that's not good. And it's the we'll make it work energy, like loving, I mean, sorry, because this is falling in lust still, but you know, the relationship feels like a chore. It feels like I'm here by force. I'm not here because I want to be here. I'm here and I'm making this quote unquote relationship, quote unquote love work. It's not it's not good. It's just something you're doing because you're lusting that person. You're not loving that person. Improvisation. So it's not intentional. It's something that is very much, the relationship is improvised. It's we'll figure it out as we go. You know, kind of like situations where a one night stand happens, someone gets pregnant, and you end up being together forever after that. But it's like a love hate, because it's like they're not really the person you saw yourself with for real. It was just out of lust that this relationship bloomed at all. And so you're like chained to them because of unprotected sex and, you know, impregnation, and you have a child together or something like that. Or you end up getting married young when it was just still lust. And, you know, you're now in your adult stages together and you're both growing apart because the authentic you had not surfaced or was not um, recognized by your partner. There's disrespect. You know, there's a lack of boundaries. There is a lack of respect for who that person is, what they value, and vice versa towards you when you're falling in lust. So perhaps you're someone who values family time, but there is someone who values making money and work. There can be, you know, a sense of, how does one say, there's a sense of conflict there, because your values lead to the decisions you make, leads to how you live your life, leads to who you are. And if you guys are not coinciding with the base values together, like we value family, not money, or we have a hierarchy where it's family then money, type of thing, where you have broken it down to a science how you want this relationship in your everyday lives to progress and the goals you want to reach, it's not going to work. Okay. Temptation is also given into. A lot of people are cheating nowadays in relationships. That's because they're in lust. They're not in love. I don't care what they want to call it. That's not authentic. That's not true. That is not destined. And last but not least, I could think of off the top of my head is that you are punished as a divine feminine for being divine. And if you're a divine masculine, you're punished as well for that. The point is that there is a sense of your roles, if you believe in more traditional roles like I do, but with a modern twist with spirituality, all that good stuff. I believe men and women both have a role to play in heterosexual relationships, and you both end up not respecting each other's divinity within the relationship. Or it might be one side respects the other's divinity, but the other one doesn't respect yours. So, example for me, since I'm a woman, I would say if I was in a relationship with a man and I respect his divine masculinity, but he does not respect my divine femininity, what does that look like? Well, he wants me to pay bills. He wants me um, to work, clean, do all these different things that he knew from the jump. I didn't want that, right? I told you there's two types of housewives. He thinks that my intuition should not be taken into consideration. He thinks that I lack wisdom because I'm a woman, so now he's sexist as well. These things keep piling up, and you don't think of it as a big thing because maybe you're also a woman that works, and so you're like, I don't want to do this, right? But you're still working, and then he's like 50-50, and I don't agree with that shit. So that's what it looked like in my relationship if I was in a relationship like that, where it's like falling in lust. It's when they cannot respect what you believe as a man or a woman and what your place that you believe is, and also divine order, right? He's not providing and protecting. What can I do with that as a divine feminine? Absolutely nothing. And so it would end. But that is an example from my perspective. Now, men might say something different because it's from a man's perspective of what he thinks a woman should do. Some might say, she's not taking care of herself. She's not taking care of the home. She's not, working out, eating healthy. She's not caring to me sexually. And some of these coincide. Maybe you both feel like, sexuality is a big thing, and that's fine because I believe it is too. But my thing is just the case of these are the conversations you have when you love someone and are in love with someone, right? All the things are listed for falling in lust. These are things that are not discussed. These are things that are not thought of. All it is, oh, I like you, you like me. Let's go have some fun, fun time together. And then reality hits. You end up either getting married or maybe become a baby daddy, baby mama, and shit's not sweet because you were never in love. Let's keep it a buck. You were in lust. Okay. Now, let's go on to what it means to fall in love. From my perspective, what I believe it's the awareness of imperfection, but a safe place is made. So, when you're falling in love with someone, when you love someone, genuinely, you understand their downfalls, but you don't hold it against them. Just like how you have a sister or brother, cousin, mom, dad, you guys understand because there's like an unspoken understanding when you have lived with someone, was raised in a certain household, raised by someone, grew up together with someone. You see the strengths and you see their weaknesses, but you still love them anyway. And if you're really invested in those relationships, you try to guide them to strengthen their weaknesses and make it less of a weakness and to spin it in a way that they are still on top after, even when they still have that weakness. Let's say like a weakness is someone's too sensitive. Usually when someone's too sensitive and you love them, you still try to convey what you want to say, but you articulate it differently because you know that if you say it in a loud tone or in a rude way, it's going to hurt their feelings, even if you're being quote unquote blunt. So you sit them down and you talk to them, in a way that's loving, but still authentically you, but still respectful of them and their boundaries. So that's what I'm saying. Like that is the type of safe place you create for those you love. So it's slow and steady. When you are falling in love, it's not like Disney as much as we've been brainwashed as women to believe, and even some men. It is something that is sure. It's like when you see that person, you just know, or you develop the relationship over time and you just know in your Noah, in your inner being, this is my person. And, there is a sense of peace that comes with that. I know I'm skipping ahead to this one, but peace is also with that. So the peace that you have is, I don't have to chase anymore, in a sense of I don't have to look for love from anyone else. I feel drawn to this person. I feel connected to this person. We're going to continue this relationship and we're going to build from there. It's not oh, but I just have to grab them before anybody else does, right? It's hmm, so this is him, or so this is her. Like you're talking to God internally, because you just know, you just feel it. You feel that they're different, and you're not anxious and stuff. You might feel a little taken off guard because you never met somebody like that. And when you feel connected to them, it's authentic and you haven't really felt that way because maybe you felt lust before. But love is different. Love gives peace, it gives safety. Okay, there's logic present. You know how I was saying how that coach who was over here having sex with his coworker and ended up losing all this stuff, his family, the $6 million a year, etc. He's in jail right now as we speak, because it was a lot that went down with that situation. Logic, when you're authentically falling in love, is saying, I have a wife at home. I have three beautiful girls. I have a great job that provides for my family. I'm not going to mess this up, right? Because logically speaking, I already have my person. I don't need to mess this up. And also, you have the reality of your person that you love. Even um, when things get hard, or in the sense of you having to learn to understand them, you're logically able to decipher that, hey, so and so is sensitive. Well, maybe it's because of this, or you ask questions more. Sometimes you don't even have to say, hey, I'm aware you're very sensitive. Sometimes you just have a conversation with them, get to know a little bit about their backstory, and then it all makes sense. Like you're logically dealing with this person, right? You're logistically running the numbers in your head, running the moments, running the schedule in your head. You're thinking of what life would be like with them. You're not just doing anything, you're not improvising. Um, Falling in love is experiencing real life. You're aware that every day is not going to be great, every day is not going to be bad, but every day they'll be in your life and you'll be in theirs, and that is what makes that day worth it. That's the mindset you have when you're falling and are in love with someone and love someone. It's the fact that life is a bitch, but I have you, you have me, and that makes me being here in this moment and existing even more worth it. Notice I didn't say worth it in the sense of that is where your only worth comes from, but it makes it more worth it, in that sense. There's also inner knowing, right? You just know internally, that's my person. It's not like, oh, she fine, he fine. And then you go from there. It's hmm, there's something different about them. You just know. You know how men say, oh, I knew that she was my wife when I first laid eyes on her? You just know. Or she says, I knew there was something different about him. She just knew. Alignment energy is present. It's not the energy of let's just make it work since we're just improvising this shit from the beginning. It's, oh my God, what's weird is everything's lining up. Our goals are the same. Our family backgrounds or our interests might be alike, right? What we believe is alike. Our financial goals are alike. My values and his values are alike. In that sense, like things align. Maybe your work schedules align. Maybe um, you literally just moved from the north to the south and you meet your person in the south. Well, that's alignment. Maybe you were just about to board a plane and you end up running into the person that's meant for you. You just never know. Maybe somebody sets you up. A friend of a friend knows this friend. The way that you come about to experience your partner where you fall in love with them and they love you and you love them, etc., and they fall in love with you, is alignment. It's destined. It's divine. There's a divine hand of Yah within creating that marriage, that relationship, right? It's intentional, and there is respect. There is always going to be respect when you love someone. I don't care what no one says. You can't tell me you love me and you don't respect me. Whether you're a man or a woman, you should respect each other. You are honored as a divine feminine or divine masculine. So, how I give the example about my values as being provided for and protected. Well, if I'm with a man that's aligned to me, he's happy to provide. He's like a Russell Wilson type. You know what I'm saying? And some might say simp. That's not a simp to me. That's a man. Just say that you play for the same team if you're not into taking care of your woman. And also for women that think someone's a pick me for taking care of her man that's good to her, just say you play for the same team as well. I believe there should be boundaries. I believe there should be logic. And that is what falling in love is. It's logic and boundaries as well. So no one's getting played, quote unquote. But there is an understanding that, hey, I love providing. I love creating a soft place for my woman. So my man would do that. And for him, if he likes a woman who has femininity, who honors her divine femininity and honors the divine masculine in the way that he would like, and she is also for that, he likes a woman who gets dolled up every day, who looks beautiful, who graces the house with her presence, who looks great on his arm, who has a spiritual understanding, who has wisdom, who he can talk to and counsel with about the different moves that he's making within the marriage and that they make together as a team. He has a great life partner. These are things that when you fall in love, when you love someone, this is what it comes with. Faithfulness. This is a big one. When you love someone, you're faithful. I don't care what you say. Because if you love them enough, you can break up with them and still be faithful. In the sense of you didn't cheat on them while you two were together, you had enough integrity to say, hey, I don't want to continue this relationship. Or even be honest and say, I'm thinking about lust, temptation. And then you two can have that conversation and go from there. But you're not going to break their heart and break the commitment you made to them, without, having a conversation, getting counseling, being honest, or letting them know that, I would rather break up than to cheat on you or hurt you that way. Right? Or come to new terms and agreements within your marriage. But that's between, you guys and the Lord and your relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's between you guys and the Lord, with how you want to do that. But these are some ways that I believe differentiate some things that differentiate between falling in love and falling in lust. And for my Rosalynds, I want you to be smart when it comes down to your heart. Your heart is so beautiful. It's so magical. It's so divinely protected and gear it towards who you're supposed to be with. Do not shorten yourself or your life dealing with dusties and men who only value your punani and not your heart and your destiny. Because you will always get fucked over. You will get fucked over every time. And my Roz the Kens that are listening, same concept, right? The point is, though, for my Roslins, I want you to know that what Yah has for you is for you. Even mother struggles with this concept of love. Because, like, for me, I've always been emotionally, how do you say, aware. Ever since I was a little girl, I was always emotionally aware and I knew people's limitations emotionally with me. And let's just say, I've never really met people that have a lot of emotional bandwidth with me and that can understand me and adore me the way that I need to be adored, you know? And so when it comes down to finding your life partner, being in a divine marriage, divine relationship, it is important to me as well. So I'm right there with you. But I often have to remind myself, and this has taken me years to cultivate the mindset that there's a difference between falling in love and falling in lust. And a lot of the reasons that people are in so many toxic situations, have derailed their life, have even ended up in the grave, is because they confused love with lust. And they had no spiritual guidance, they had no self love, and they had no patience for what was actually meant for them. They just went with whatever looked good that they felt sexually attracted to and ran with it and called it love. And it has literally torn apart families, passed down generational curses, and all these things through different bloodlines, including mine, because there was a lot of lust involved more than love. And I'm not repeating that same shit. I swear on everything I love, I'm not. And that is why I hold myself to a certain standard. And that is why y'all will not let me move a certain way, because it ends with me. And I know that my Roslins also feel the same. I know you do, because you wouldn't be this, connected to my channel or found it if it wasn't for a divine alignment or purpose. Because I am a daughter of Oshun, a daughter of Yah, and Mommy Watsa swimming in my bloodline. And so I'm a spiritual woman first before I'm anything else. Actually, side note, a pretty spiritual woman first. There you go. Okay. That means everything to me. The concept of alchemy, the concept of leveling up go hand in hand for me, because there's a natural level up, there's a spiritual level up. There is ascension, there is descension, and there is the art of transformation, which me as a Scorpio woman through and through, I embody to the totality of it all. And that's why I said in my post, it's hard. Now, Mother hasn't been here for a little bit because I've been dealing with my own health issues, and I am going through quite a lot. Every day, it seems it gets harder in its own right. I think I'm starting to mellow out, which I'm happy about, but it's devastating. And I know that what y'all has for me is always going to be for me. But I'm a person. Like I always tell you, I'm not just a voice on the internet, on this YouTube channel. I'm a whole person that has a life and that has hopes and dreams, and that's just trying to be the chosen one that I know that I am in my bloodline. And my God, it's hard as fuck. I'm not even going to hold you. Every day, every day you get up, you try to push forward, and sometimes life knocks you fucking down. Now, the beauty of Mother is that I've always been one that is resilient. Everyone always tells me this. Oh my God, you're so resilient. That's just what you do. You always come back bigger, stronger. Like William Afton, I always come back, right? Yeah, I do. But you see, doing this alone, quote unquote, without that, I guess for me, my life partner yet entering my life, it's hard as fuck. I ain't gonna hold you. It's hard because I've never had that. And so my thing is trusting y'all that your person is coming, which I do believe. I do believe that. However, weathering the transformation without that person that is going to actually be in love with you and love you genuinely and not be in lust with you. I've had many people in my life that have tolerated me, that have been in lust with me, and that, idolize me, but they don't always see me. Actually, none have fully seen me. But I do believe that, Yah puts together people so you can see each other for once, right? And so that, you can be their safe place, they can be yours. Now, I'm not talking about toxic codependency. I'm talking about an actual genuine relationship, marriage, etc. in the future, if that is what you want as well. And if you just want your singleness for the rest of your life, that's fine. It's a blessing to be single as well. I say it's a win-win either way you go, right? But for Mother, I know that I'm meant to be paired to a great man one day that I will love very much and that will very much so love the ground that I walk on. But I would be lying if I said that through this health crisis I'm dealing with and, you know, just living my life, that sometimes it does get lonely in the sense of, man, I see other people have that support, and I wish I had it to that extent and authentically, where someone actually sees all of me, not just the parts that they relate to, but even the parts they don't. But since I am the mother, I will rise like a phoenix from the ashes. I always do. But it doesn't make the death any less painful. Never does. Or the rebirth any less painful and shocking, right? So I say all that to say that you never know what someone's going through, so be kind. But also be appreciative that you're not alone. Just be appreciative of that. Like, I know my spiritual team is with me, but I'm telling you, to be appreciative that physically you're not alone, and relationship wise, if you desire that, you're not alone. And if you are, don't worry, you will get your heart's desire. And with that, Mother is going to say ciao. Have a nice day, my Rosalynds and Rosikins.